Did you know? The name Kit Kat goes back hundreds of years before the popular chocolates we know today even existed. In the late 17th to early 18th centuries, a group of literary thinkers and Whig Party supporters in London gathered under the name Kit Kat Club. Multiple theories exist on where the group's name came from. Some sources claim the name came from the owner of a pie shop the club frequented. The man was named Christopher Catling, or Kit Kat for short. Meanwhile, other sources say the name came from the pies Christopher Catling made for the club, known as Kit Kats. Fast forward to 1911, and Rowntree trademarked both Kit Kat with a C and Kit Kat with a K. The company's reasons for doing so are also uncertain. Alex Hutchinson, an archivist at Nestlé, who owned Rowntree since 1988, theorized, at the time Rowntree registered the name, most schoolboys would have known about the Kit Kat Club. It was famous for having strong influence on the political system in the UK. The company liked naming chocolates after things they thought were aspirational, and the Kit Kat Club was considered really grand and classy. Nevertheless, the Rowntree company wouldn't use the name until the 1920s. The first Kit Kat chocolates, decorated in a wrapper calling back to Christopher Catling's pie shop, were an assortment of chocolates rather than the breakable Kit Kat bars of today. This line didn't last very long though. The Rowntree company later decided to cut back on the assorted chocolate lines in their catalogue to better focus on their Black Magic and Dairy Box chocolates instead. The last Kit Kat chocolates would ultimately be phased out of production by the early 1930s. The chocolates that would become the modern Kit Kat were developed after a worker at Rowntree left a note in the suggestion box, saying, "Make a chocolate bar that a man could take to work in his pack-up." However, rather than release yet another chocolate bar, Rowntree decided to dip wafers in chocolate to keep prices as low as possible for the everyday working man. The first four-finger bar arrived on store shelves in London on August 29, 1935, under the name Rowntree's Chocolate Crisp. The invention proved to be more popular than Rowntree imagined, and demand for chocolate crisps quickly outpaced the supply. 2 years later, Rowntree's Chocolate Crisp was officially nicknamed the Kit Kat Chocolate Crisp, which would ultimately be shortened to simply Kit Kat. Yet again, the exact reason behind the name change has been lost to time. One popular story says Nigel Bolchin, a company psychologist at Rowntree who went on to be a famous author and screenwriter, invented the name. Hutchinson disagrees though, writing, "It seems unlikely that Bolchin invented the name, as it was first registered when he was just a child, but he may have had the idea of transferring the name from the Kit Kat chocolates assortment to the bar, as the name Rowntree's Chocolate Crisp was a bit of a mouthful." In 1941, Rowntree found itself in trouble. Shortages and wartime rationing in Britain during World War II forced them to alter the Kit Kat recipe to use dark chocolate in place of milk chocolate. Fearing that the change would scare off fans of the original Kit Kats forever, these wartime Kit Kats were relaunched in blue wrappers with various disclaimers such as, "Because no milk can be obtained for chocolate manufacture, the chocolate crisp you knew in peacetime can no longer be made." Kit Kat is the nearest possible product at the present time. If that wasn't clear enough, Kit Kat advertisements of the day proclaimed no more chocolate crisp till after the war. True to their word, the original Kit Kat recipe and red wrapper returned to store shelves following the end of World War II. Over the following decades, Rowntree slowly introduced Kit Kats to more countries around the world. However, when it came time to introduce the chocolate wafer bars to the United States in the early 70s, Rowntree sold the manufacturing and distribution rights of Kit Kats to the American candy giant Hershey's. This has had a long-lasting impact on both companies to this day. When Nestlé bought Rowntree in 1988, it continued to honor Hershey's claim on Kit Kats within the United States under one condition. Nestlé would take the rights back if Hershey was bought out by another company. Spoon University writer Megan Hennessy explained, "It was, and has continued to be, an effective way to stop Hershey's from going into business talks with a competitor. If Hershey's lost Kit Kat, it would lose one of its biggest candy icons, ultimately lowering the company's worth." This arrangement may seem to favor Nestlé, but without the Kit Kat brand, Nestlé continues to struggle far behind Hershey and other competitors in the American candy market. According to consumer goods research group Euromonitor, Nestlé only controls a 3.4% share of the market within the States compared to Hershey's 22%. Meanwhile, Kit Kats have become Hershey's third most popular chocolate candy within the US, only standing behind Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and Hershey's Milk Chocolate Bars. And they generate the company around $200 million in annual revenues. Similarly, when it came time to introduce Kit Kats to Japan in 1973, Rowntree licensed the chocolates out to Fujiya, a Japanese confectionery company. Early Japanese advertisements for Kit Kats focused exclusively on the chocolate bar's British origins, promoting it as a foreign delicacy. Unlike the situation in the US, however, Nestlé managed to reclaim the rights to the Kit Kat brand in Japan after their purchase of Rowntree in 1988. This would help pave the way for big changes for the brand when Nestlé Japan's marketing team experimented with the chocolate, tinkering with new flavors, sweetness levels, and packaging designs in the late 1990s. Eventually, the team covered the milk chocolate that surrounds the wafer bars in a finely ground powder of dehydrated strawberry juice, creating the first ever strawberry-flavored Kit Kat bar. After perfecting the formula, the next question became where and how they could introduce this new creation to the market. Nestlé Japan's marketing team looked into the sweets available in Japan's northernmost island, Hokkaido, a popular tourist spot known for its skiing, hot springs, and beer. In 2000, at the beginning of the strawberry season, Nestlé Japan released their new strawberry Kit Kats exclusively in Hokkaido. The product immediately became a runaway hit, especially among both Japanese and foreign tourists. This gave the marketing team another idea. What if specially flavored Kit Kat bars only sold in certain regions of Japan could serve not just as sweets, but souvenirs as well? The team followed up on the idea and quickly worked on more Kit Kat varieties for the nation. Tamaruya Honten brand wasabi-flavored Kit Kats were introduced to the Shizuoka prefecture. Hiroshima received Momiji Manju-themed Kit Kats, themed after a pastry made of buckwheat and rice cake, considered to be a local speciality of the city. And Adzuki bean sandwich Kit Kats appeared in the Hokuriku region. The plan worked, and Kit Kats exploded in Japan. Still not satisfied, Nestlé Japan made more Kit Kat flavors released on a limited time basis throughout the country, rather than restricted to a single region. As of 2019, Nestlé Japan has produced more than 400 different kinds of Kit Kat, including matcha green tea, Shinshu apple, Iwazumi yogurt, orange cocktail noir, sake, pancake, sports drink, to even sushi flavors. Japanese Kit Kat marketing manager Ryoji Maki told the LA Times, "It may seem as if we just want to develop weird flavors for Japanese consumers, but the concept is really to diversify. The entire process of making a new Kit Kat flavor from concept to store shelves takes around 6 months. Today, roughly 20 new Kit Kat varieties are created every single year, and flavors are switched out every 2 months. These flavors can be found anywhere from department stores to luxury Kit Kat boutiques. Of course, not every new Kit Kat turns out to be a hit. For example, in August of 2017, Nestlé Japan released Cough Drop Kit Kats, specifically aimed at Japanese soccer fans. The hope was that fans could cheer on their teams until their throats were sore and then pop a Cough Drop Kit Kat to keep going. However, as LA Times writer Jonathan Kyman put it, instead, the flavor left snackers, even those with scratchy throats, scratching their heads. Kit Kats have even found a place in Japanese pop culture. For instance, to Japanese speakers, the name Kit Kat, often pronounced Kito Kato, sounds similar to the Japanese phrase Kito Katsu, which can be roughly translated as, "You will surely win." After the connection began to spread around the country in the early 2000s, Nestlé Japan noticed that sales of Kit Kat bars surged in January every year. As it turned out, people were buying up Kit Kat bars as gifts or reminders for their children to do their best on their high school or college entrance exams. The trend became so popular that Nestlé Japan teamed up with Japan's postal service in 2009 to run Kit Kat Mail, which allowed students to send Kit Kat bars for good luck to another. The service proved to be another huge success for the brand in Japan. Since then, Kit Kat packages leading up to exam season featured wrappers with uplifting messages such as, "Believe in yourself," "Do your best," and "It'll be fine." On the other hand, some wrappers are printed with a blank place where parents can write their own encouragement instead. Reportedly, 1 in 3 Japanese students purchase a Kit Kat bar for good luck before exams, and 1 in 5 bring their Kit Kat with them to the test. According to Maki, these innovations have helped Japan become Nestlé's #1 market for Kit Kats in terms of both sales and profits. Kit Kats haven't just been successful in Japan, though. In 2010, Kit Kats were honored by the Guinness Book of World Records as the most prolific chocolate brand in the entire world, officially being sold in 72 countries throughout the globe. The number has only grown since then. Celebrating the brand's 80th birthday in 2015, Nestlé announced that more than 17 billion Kit Kat fingers are eaten worldwide every year. Although chocolate factories in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Bulgaria, Spain, Turkey, Egypt, South Africa, Algeria, Mexico, Venezuela, Japan, China, India, and Malaysia now make Kit Kat bars to keep up with the global demand, the original Rowntree York factory still runs today and produces 3 million Kit Kat bars daily. In fact, it's estimated that the number of Kit Kat bars produced in just 5 minutes worldwide would stand taller than the Eiffel Tower. Did you also know that M&Ms were originally planned to appear in the movie E.T., but Universal had to use Reese's Pieces after being denied permission to use M&Ms? For more facts, check out the Did You Know Food video on Reese's.